go off of besides that announcement, and everyone pretty much recorded right after.
Yep.
So I'm like, cool, that just caught me up like 6 hours.
Yeah. I've been doing that because I'm pretty close to caught up with Nextlander. And
Okay.
like they're talking about a bunch of stuff that I don't want to get spoiled. So I'm like, okay, we'll just skip that chapter, or skip that chapter, or skip that. Okay, I just skipped an hour. All right.
Uh-huh.
Yay. Small feats.
Yeah.
So I guess what I'm saying is, you, the listener, I don't want to see any emails about, hey, how come you guys' episodes are less than an hour? You'll thank us in the future.
You're welcome for getting the time back.
Uh-huh. Yep.
Yeah,
There you
The
it's
go.
only
like that
5-star
Teams meeting
runtime
at
we
the
have is
end.
critical misses.
That's right.
Yeah, seriously. But you guys have like a lot to. You guys are covering like hour, 2 hour, 3 hour long movies. So I mean, like,
We have
you're
a lot of
basically filling in
opinions.
the runtime.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. There have been plenty of critical misses episodes where like this movie. Man, I don't know. It's like a 45-minute episode of just like, nope, didn't, no thanks, I
Yeah.
don't know. Or some of them where
45
it's like,
minutes of you guys trying to be nice and downplaying how much you hated it.
I don't think we ever try to do that. There have been some episodes like, especially like the Night Is Long Walk On Girl, where it's just like, how the hell?
That's
like,
a hard one to
how do we
talk about.
talk about this like fever dream of a thing?
Hmm.
And some movies just like aren't that complicated to talk about. Where it's like, okay, that was 20 minutes. That was the movie. Hooray!
Yeah.
So,
I was just
Uh-huh.
reminded that Independence Day 2 was an actual thing, and I'm like,
True.
oh yeah, I should watch that still.
That needs to go on the long-awaited sequel series, Boston.
oh man. Okay, hold on. I gotta open up
Oh,
the
did I just
spreadsheet.
turn a stone?
I can do it.
No.
I'm already halfway there
I was
anyway.
gonna say,
So
did
I
I
can do
did
it.
I nudge a sigil on a seal somewhere? And
No, we just have a set of seasons where it's like long-awaited sequels. So it's like, there was a huge whether the second movie was good or not in the Independence Day 1 and 2. There was
yeah,
a big gap between the two of those, so
yeah.
If we
That was
didn't
just
love
fun.
them so much, Tron would be a perfect example of this.
true.
I think, honestly, at some point, I think we probably just put a season or two together where it's like, this is for us. We don't care. Like,
Yeah,
we
exactly.
have. I mean, this is a production meeting conversation to have next
Yeah.
week.
It's like
But,
an extension
like,
of our pet seasons, where it's just like
yeah.
this one's for me.
Like, I'm sorry, but I want to do a critical misses on Tron because I could really watch those two movies and the third one anytime.
Exactly.
I mean, you guys could do an episode on Revenge of the Sith because that's coming back into theaters soon. And
We're having a hard time figuring out what to do about Star Wars, and we're not dealing with it for right now.
Honestly, we're having a hard time to figure out what to do with the stars in general. Trek,
Yep.
Wars, and Gate. It's
Yep.
difficult to cover any
Uh-huh.
of those.
Yeah. And with
No,
like
I said-
Star Trek, it's really hard because like those ones are easy of just like go watch all the movies, but when the show comes out every other week, that's like a year of.
Uh-huh.
It's like this is the year of Trek, but like that's not.
welcome to Wayward Sons.
That's like it's a totally
Yeah.
different show at that point, which is like a way different problem at that point.
Yeah, because at that point, for like Star Wars, it'd be like, yeah, just stick with the movies only.
Yeah.
And then if you guys ever feel like doing the TV shows, like, okay, we'll just pop these in systematically every once in a while. But
Well, and there's also this
Oh.
thing too that we talk a lot about on Critical Misses of like, is there something interesting that we can add to these things? Like, is there something interesting we can add to Star Wars 7, 8, and 9? Not really at the moment.
I mean,
Nine is
besides
garbage.
hate, yeah.
Yeah, and like, is that interesting? I don't think so. And like, I don't want us to be the cinema sins sort of thing
Yeah.
of like, well, I'm coming in to hate this thing and I hate everything, and
Yeah.
movies are my favorite thing and I hate them all. Like, I don't really want to do that. So it's like we don't go into any of these things like looking to hate stuff. If we come out of it hating it, then that's fine because it was probably just a bad movie then. But like,
Yeah.
I don't want to watch. I don't want to just watch something to hate it because like that's where the cancer starts. Of like, oh, I'm gonna watch this thing. Oh, I hated it so much. What's the next? Oh, people love me hating stuff. Just like, no.
We were
Thanks.
just talking about that for anime before we started recording.
Yeah,
Yep.
that's my
Yeah,
Cinema
speaking of
Sins voice, by
difficult-
the way. Yeah, Cinema Sins. I hate
Yeah,
everything.
speaking of things that are difficult to cover,
Mm-hmm.
fucking anime in any form.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Like whose list do you go off of what one you missed?
Right.
Like
Yeah.
what do we got? Akira, Ghost
Yep.
in the Shell,
Yep.
Princess Mononoke,
Yep.
Cowboy Bebop.
Yep.
And then like after that it's like, okay, now we're starting to get to real personal favorites you
Yeah.
know.
Let's watch Bleach for the next
Yeah.
15 years. Like, yeah.
I
It's also
fucking
really
love
hard
Bleach,
too
though.
to like.
So dumb, but I love it.
Yeah. It's also hard too. Like we've talked about watching Evangelion, which is a
Yeah,
fairly
Evangelion, another one right there,
straightforward,
yeah.
like 26 episodes, 1, 2, 6 movies. Like that's pretty straightforward. But like, how do you cut up the episodes? You can't just do like 4 at a time because then you're like leaving a gap here and there. You're like ending at in the middle of like. It's a hard like it's probably harder than I'm trying to make it, but I also want it to be like a fun viewing experience for both Moon and I, and a fun listening experience, and like a fun viewing experience for those people that are watching along with us. So it's a
Especially something
multifaceted
like
problem.
Evangelion. Like how do you break down that Technicolor rabbit hole
Uh-huh.
of a lore? you
And
know?
like it's pretty
By
easy
the way,
as like a watch thing of like you watch the
Yeah.
show and then you watch the movies in order. But like
Yeah.
how do you break that show up other than like doing an episode a week, which is like a whole separate problem.
Or you get
Yeah.
things like Fooly Cooly, where it's like, wait, so a robot came out of its head?
Hey, we did that.
We did
that.
all of
Oh, I know.
Fooly Cooly. I'm terrified of the new thing, the new Fooly Cooly thing that'll come out.
By the way, if we do a Star Trek show, we should call it Engaged, because that's what we're going to be for like fucking 7 years.
That's right. That's right. Yeah. Good times. Good stuff. Good stuff. All right. Are you guys ready to get started?
Yeah.
Sure, I guess.
All right. Let's get started in 3, 2, 1. Welcome back to another episode of That Video Game Podcast, aka TVGP. I'm your host, Boston. Joining me as always is Moonpeer.
Hello.
And the Nimp.
Hello.
Let's put a quick plug here for e1m1.cash.
The ones are the numbers.
Still gonna take so long.
I
to
know. I'm getting used to it here.
I said Patreon in my head. You said cash. I'm like, that's not right.
That's hold a minute. Yep.
Mhm.
So that brings you over to our Patreon page. You can also get to it on patreon.com/e1m1. The $5 a month is a recommended tier that gets you everything, like the exclusive uncensored Outcast. We're talking about all of the cool stuff like Cobras, art museums, a new podcast that we actually like this time, Critical Misses, also another podcast we like, a whole bunch of stuff over there. We also get early access to We Rogue Like It and Critical Misses. You get, at the $5 tier or higher, you get exclusive access to the Critical Misses production meeting. They kind of fly on the wall, seeing how the sausage is made, whatever other kind of metaphors you can put in there. And then exclusive access to the Wayward Sons Supernatural TV show watchcast the Moon and Nimp are going through. Get all of that over at e1m1.cash.
Ones are numbers. We are very quickly wrapping up season 3 in Wayward Sons.
Nice.
Yeah.
Good.
The original writer strike season.
Right.
We're on our way. We're on our way down that rabbit hole right now.
Yep. All right, Moon. What have you been playing this past week?
So I really only played 2 games.
Okay.
It's going to be the obvious 2. It's a bi-weekly week, which means that we did, of course, play Lethal Company this week. There are so many different moons available. So much chaos is happening now. There is so much additional scrap to be collected, and I'm not gonna say it's getting out of hand.
I wouldn't go that far.
But it's getting close to getting out of hand.
When you posted a message, you were like, "All right, here's the new code for was it R2 Mod Man?
Yes.
412 mods." And I was like, "That's
Hey.
Uh-huh.
It was 142. Thank you very much.
All right." It felt like it's a lot.
And then I loaded it up and it was causing errors, so I had to reduce that down to 137. Thank you very much.
That makes sense.
Which, you know, the only reason I had to reduce that is because the Halo moons have not been updated, so they are depreciated.
I see.
I really wanted to go to the Halo moons.
Understand.
Very, very badly. I will say, you know you're a bunch of a certain age of dorks when I put a bunch of additional models in for people to play as. So, like, there's the banana split thing from Fortnite. There's a bunch of new suits, so on and so forth. The mod count is going to change because I've got a whole bunch more lined up, ready to go. I may or may not have put a Sephiroth thing in there.
I mean, why wouldn't you?
Just going all the way with like early 2000 mods. Just
Yes. So I spent a long time, the entire run, basically running around as Sephiroth and shouting the obligatory Sephiroth name in the obligatory way. I'm not going to do it here because I will blow out the microphone so bad.
But how are the hair physics?
Good question.
Hilariously stupid.
Perfect.
When the ship is landing, it is affected by the wind. When the doors open, it's affected by the wind. Except it's like PSP model Sephiroth because it's just one big chunk that wibbles, essentially. Clips through everything. It's hilarious. And if I have any cosmetics on, it just floats around the body somewhere. So like my Waluigi hat was like on the back of his head, so I had to take all of that stuff off.
Oh man.
It's interesting being in a group of a bunch of dorks who know that reference and are laughing, and then somebody else being like, "Who are you?" And it's like, "Oh no."
Oh boy.
Oh no.
How many hours do you have for an RPG?
Yeah. How much time do you have? And like I tried to explain, it's like, yeah, it's you know the spiky figure that I got, like the cube shaped guy, my little cloud figure here. Who, by the way, this hair spiker and cloud is very sharp and did puncture me and leave me with a scab at some point.
Incredible. Yep.
I was like, it's his arch rival. That's all you need to know.
Yeah.
Like,
Here's
literally
the voice
all
of the
you
planet,
need to know.
all that stuff.
Yeah.
Yep.
We made references to Genova and all of the rest of it, and it was completely lost. So
I love it.
that's fine.
9-minute summoning of a meteor to create a
what do you know
supernova.
about the black orb? Tell me all your secrets. Yep.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
But really, it's a story of discovery. And...
That's right.
Hold on. When did they turn Final Fantasy VII into eco-global warming nightmarishness?
I know.
that was when they turned it into an anime.
That's right.
Yes. No, that was literally a review posted on Steam for Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, I believe.
Yeah, when it went quote unquote woke. And why
yes.
was it? The original wasn't about eco-terrorism. It's like,
It 100% was.
Probably go back and check that out.
Yep, maybe go check that out.
Yeah.
But I added like 15 different new variations of plushies in there. I added a bunch of, so now we have a plushie collection machine essentially. Basically, no, they don't all have voices. Thank God. They all have different looks, different styles, different vibes. One seems to be overwriting the loot table at the moment, so I'm going to try and have to figure out a way to minimize the loot table for that one specifically.
Great.
But they glow in the dark, so it's hilarious when the lights are out. It's all very brightly lit on all of these plushies. Basically, I'm turning the ship in Lethal Company into a gacha machine, is what I'm doing.
Incredible.
Nice.
Which is just fantastic, especially because we now have a washing machine at the company building, which does exactly what it says on the tin. You put loot in the washing machine, you close the washing machine, and it launders the loot, and it gives you a coin with the value of the loot, and then just gives you zero value loot back.
That's great.
You're laundering your loot.
Uh-huh. Literally exactly what it says. It's hilarious though because you can like throw the coins. You do a little thumb flip. There was a Witcher joke 2 weeks ago. I'm just gonna say that right now.
Naturally.
Because you can't help it if you can literally flip a coin at somebody. I've not seen that show, mate, and I probably should.
First season's pretty good. Yeah. Is there a Geralt skin you've put in there yet?
No, there isn't.
There's always.
I should look. Wait, hold on.
Let me get mine.
Not next.
Yeah.
2 weeks.
Not next week. The week after.
Yes. Every other week. Yes. Yes.
Let me just see if I can get my click of the pen in the microphone. I cannot.
I mean, I kind of heard it.
Yeah. You can add your own at home. Click, click.
I've already added like 5 or 6 new models. I'm not going to spoil what they are because I know people who play will listen to this.
Right.
And I genuinely just think it's hilarious when people load up and then suddenly it's just like, wait, what's this? What's that? What's going on here? Why is there glizzies?
You put Grimace in this game, you monster? Oh, Moon is grabbing his pen. Grim S. Yep.
Oh man, could you imagine having a Ronald McDonald chasing you through the halls?
So I will say there's a mod I deliberately chose not to include, which it turns the Bracken into something else. For those of you who've not played the game, the Bracken is the thing that is in shadows and it sneaks up behind you and then it will grab you from behind and then snap your neck. But if you look at it, it will back away. There is a mod that turns the Bracken into Goku Black.
Great. Yep.
And I think when it aggroes and doesn't stop chasing you, it does the appropriate energy animation around it, we'll say.
That's great. Thank you, mod makers.
People are crazy.
Yep.
Like, people are genuinely crazy. Like,
so good.
there was so many Five Nights at Freddy's mods in here. It's just like, I have no care to do any of that stuff, which is fine by me. Lethal Company is just fun. It's stupid. It's hilarious. It's dumb in all of the best ways possible. And yeah, the mod count is going to get obscene. It's going to be even more obscene. But my favorite part of it is the mods that I'm using. They're not mods that are going to put pressure on systems. It's just additional content at this point.
Yeah.
Oh, sure.
Where it's like, yeah, it's new suits, new outfits, new whatever, new moons, new loot, new everything. Do you guys know what Oobleteria is? And don't say it's from Oobla, from the Ooblets game.
I was going to make an Oobleck joke, but no, I don't know what that is.
No, I don't.
Okay, because there's a moon called Oobleteria, and it has a custom... We went there, and it has a custom dungeon, custom monsters, custom everything, and I have no clue what it's from. So it might be an anime reference that I don't get. There's a lot of anime stuff in there too.
Yeah.
But it's just... It's fun. There's stupid stuff out all the time, and we're exploring and getting new things, and kind of breaking the game a little bit, but in all of the best ways. Like that open world jank, except it's mod-based jank instead, which is just hilarious.
That's the fun part about modding, is like you're flying too close to the sun, and the game is kind of unraveling at the seams, but that's half the fun of it.
Yes, 100%.
Yeah.
One of the interiors that I think I spoke about this a couple of weeks ago, but one of the interiors that I've got is now just the inside of a monster.
That's really great.
So like the main entrance is a mouth, and you're doing the whole... What's that movie where they go in the ship and the ship gets shrunk and they go into people?
Inner Space?
Thank you. It's very Inner Space, where you're like traveling around the body, and like you can go into the lungs and you hear breathing get louder as you go into
like
the
Kingdom
lungs. Hearts. Yes, exactly. and the apparatus is the heart, so you can tell you're getting
Oh.
close to the apparatus by
really
how
great.
loud the heartbeat is. Some of these people are crazy, like
Yeah, that's
genuinely
really good.
crazy. It's like, I don't understand how you've done this, but I have mad appreciation and respect for what you have done,
Mhm.
because it's hilariously scary every single time you do it.
Yeah.
I also don't know which mod I have that does it, because I have a lot. But one of the mods I have is the mod that allows the monsters to escape the facility.
Oh, no,
Ooh.
thank you.
So now there is Brackens patrolling outside. There is
Oh.
all kinds of things out there. So yeah, in and out, in and out. That's the key.
Yep.
You got to be in and out as
On
quick
your
as you
toes.
can, get as much stuff as you can, and then be gone.
Jeez.
It's great. Y'all should join in. I'm just saying. And if you're interested, check out the LFG. If you're interested in listening, check out the LFG channel. I post codes in there, and I try and let everybody know when we play. 9 to 10 p.m. Eastern every other Friday. So not this Friday, but the Friday after, which is going to be the 25th of April, is next Lethal Company Day. So join it in, have a blast, get killed, shake some glizzies, the usual stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. Other than that, the only other thing I played is a tiny little bit of Assassin's Creed Shadows.
I played, maybe 10 minutes of this week.
Okay. Nimp, rough estimation on time?
I can now mess with Yosuke.
Okay.
Oh, nice.
So, which
That
his,
sequence, that
his
cutscene.
second introduction is pretty awesome.
Uh-huh.
Because he starts, I'm not going to spoil anything story-wise, but there's an event, there's a story mission that you're playing as Naoe. Something happens, Yosuke shows up, Yosuke sees something, and the fight that you were having stops. And it's like, oh, this guy knows a lot of things.
Oh, okay.
It's pretty awesome. So, and now, like, basically, with the reintroduction that you get with him, you get to play as him again for a little bit, and then once that's completed, it gives you the option to, hey, you can go into the menu now, and you can just actively switch between the two characters now. It's like, sweet. And that's where I stopped playing, because I'm like, I am so tired right now. But having the whole thing with Jinjiro, too.
Yep.
It's like, I go back and forth. Jinjiro is the little kid that you see in the beginning of the game, and I go back and forth on him a little bit. Just because he's a kid, and no one seems to do kids right anyway. And when they do, they get them spot on where they're super annoying, you know? So,
but that sequence is really good with him.
Yeah. He does a really good job with kind of being the adult in this situation, even though he doesn't 100%. Need to be. So yeah, I'm enjoying the character so far. But outside of that, I've just been doing a lot of exploring within my areas.
It's literally all I've been doing. Yeah, it's like, okay, I'm accidentally over-leveled at this point, where like I've only got like 2 zones where I can't go to based on levels. So I'm just literally doing loops around, getting all of the synchronization points.
Yep.
And like, okay, this is a castle. I'm going to clear out this castle because I'll get legendary loot for it, which I can, figure out what the perks are later. And then I can figure out whether or not I want to use them or not later as well. So I'll just go in, clear out castles, move on to the next one, go in, clear out another castle, move on to the next one. And I'm literally just opening it up so that when I want to sit down and focus on the quests, I can just fast travel to where I need to be.
That's
true.
What I've been messing with a lot too, because we have there's 2 fast travel points. There's the Eagle's Nest that you find, but then there's those buildings that you can buy, which
Akagura or something like that.
Yeah,
which is it's like little assassin hideouts.
Yeah, but the weird thing about these they only cost like 800. I think what's the currency? Mon.
800 mon. Yes.
They only cost 800 mon to unlock them, so that way you can fast travel to them. But the problem is that they're never that far away from a different fast travel point. Yeah. So it's like, well, do you want to get a little closer to your objective that's to the east? Yeah, buy this thing for 800 points.
Right.
Or just go to your Eagle's Nest and just run you know.
I
Yeah.
think I've seen 3 that are not in that particular situation, but I've also unlocked like 15 so far, and it's like 3 out of 15 which are not close.
Yeah.
Everything else, like you said, is like the eagle's nest is right here, and the building next door has the assassin's hideout in it, and it's just like, why?
Yeah. So
Stick it on
I
the other
don't
side
know.
of town.
Yeah, and I don't know if they eventually unlock or do something extra, but right now they just seem to be an additional fast travel point that you can purchase with in-game currency. So,
So when you go in there, you have the option to refill scouts. So if you use scouts to do like the mission specific thing, you can refill the scouts by paying money to do so.
Oh,
It's
okay.
like 200 mon per scout. Or if you raid a castle and like mark a bunch of supplies to be taken, that uses 1 quote unquote scout. Or 2 if you don't have that upgrade. But when you refill the scouts, those scouts are still applied to that loot. So if you have a season where you just want to get as much loot as you can for like construction materials, you can fast travel to one, refill all of the scouts, and then go and do another castle, and then still have the scouts available to like mark
gotcha.
resources.
But
You
can't
also
you go
can
back
get
to the study in the hideout and reset your scouts that way too?
you can do it there as well, but
Okay.
you also get like local contracts, like side missions essentially in there.
Okay.
So there's like a little bounty board in each one of them.
Oh, that's right. I did grab like 3 of those, and they
That's
were just like quick things. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like go kill this dude, deal with this, do that,
Mm-hmm.
damage these supplies, that kind of stuff. So it's like little side quests for that particular area. And it's a place where you can get your tools filled and your rations filled as well.
Okay.
I haven't had that big of an issue with the rations. Tools every once in a while. I do enjoy that when you throw a shuriken, you can go to the body and get it back. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And,
Same with the
extremely
bells.
helpful.
Like when you throw the bells, which I'm struggling with the bells at the moment. Like I can't get them to work. But you can go pick them up when you throw them down as well.
Oh, okay. But yeah, outside of that, I've just been exploring. Really, I haven't really been pushing. I only pushed the story on this one because I wasn't paying attention to what my active quest was, and I was just kind of following the marker, and it's like, oh, what's over here? And next thing you know,
Yeah.
it's like, oh, I'm in a big battle right now.
Oh, yeah.
So,
Well, like, that objectives page on your thing? I've got like 15 circles now.
Oh,
got a
jeez.
bunch of them.
And like that's just the quest circles. That doesn't include like the 5 circles up top where it's like the what's it called? The thing that,
Like the weekly...
the animus
Yeah.
one. It's got the people of, and then it's like big areas. Like it's got 5 for each area, or like 1 for each area. And it's just like I got like 15 under that. I did something, and then something happened, and it killed me, and I was very confused. I will not say what, because I think it was actually a very good reveal. If you are under-leveled, run.
Okay.
Run as fast as you can. And you need to be level 40 for this specific thing. So, I'm just saying. When you run into it...
14 or 15 right now.
Yeah, I'm 29. Like, it is unreal. Like... I'm enjoying this game. All I've done though is exactly what you said. I'm running from place to place, getting knowledge points, getting the map opened up.
Some of the things though, like I don't even like I unlocked a circle. There was this guy at a temple. The temple looked like it was kind of burnt down, and of course, because it's a temple, there's just like the random scrolls. There's usually like 2 or 3 hidden scrolls for you to find, and then you unlock a knowledge point. So I'm like, all right, cool. This one had 2. Let me knock that out. And while I was doing that, I noticed that there was a guy in like full samurai armor there, but I wasn't like aggroing him at all. I was like, okay, let me go up and talk to him and see, what this guy's got. And then me getting that close to him actually aggroed him. Something about like I noticed that like it mentioned something about a quest marker or something had procced, and I open up the quest log, and yeah, I've got like a whole other circle, and it's got like 9. It looks like 9 brothers or something like that in here, and it's talking about like this whole family, and I'm like, all right, I am not fighting him right now. I'm going to figure out what all of this is in a moment, because there's a lot going on. But I enjoy that though, where it's like you can run into an area and you'll hear somebody say something, and the next thing you know, it's like you look at your quest log. It's
There's
like,
a
oh, I got
brand new circle with 7 people
it's like,
around it, and you're
where the
just
hell
like,
did this
huh?
thing come from? Like, what did I do for that?
Yep.
It's kind
So
of
that
funny
thing-
and weird, but
That thing you're talking about with the brothers, that happened to me. I accidentally
Okay.
killed one of the brothers, and then literally I got the full quest circle with like 9, I think it's 9 people around it.
like that, yeah.
And it's just like, oh, here is a brand new quest that you've just unlocked by accidentally assassinating one of your assassination targets that you would have learned about in a different side quest.
Wow.
Yeah, because that's the other thing too. Yeah, you can side load quests by accident, just like starting something purely by accident, because you're like, oh, this is a cool thing that's happening here, and next thing you know, you're like on step 5 of a 9-step quest,
Jeez.
and you didn't do steps 1 through 4.
Yep.
Man.
So it's kind of interesting how you can fall into stuff like that with this game, and it doesn't seem to break it so far.
Yeah, no issues at all. I will say thank you for the patch with the auto follow.
Yep.
It's
Yeah.
much
For on your horse.
appreciated.
Yep.
Yep.
Thank you, Ubisoft.
I did notice too with my computer that I was starting to have more and more issues with the UI just disappearing and things not responding. Like I wasn't getting prompts or anything. And after that patch, that seems to have fixed it, but I haven't had a chance to really sit down and play more of it. But that patch seems to have fixed whatever that was happening with the PC version.
Nice.
So
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys had seen anything like that on the console versions at all, but
Not too
No,
much.
mine still seems to run absolutely perfectly. And I was mistaken when I first spoke about this. I don't have it in performance mode. I have it in quality mode.
Oh wow. Okay.
And it is running smooth. Like I'm not having hitches, I'm not having issues at all.
Nice.
Yeah. It's just the regular Assassin's Creed jank of, no, I don't want you to climb this wall. I want you to walk through the GD door. Come on.
Right.
Yep.
Stop jumping on this post. I need you on the sidewalk.
Right.
Can't remember which Assassin's Creed it was. It might have been the one set in Paris, the original one for the Xbox One and PlayStation 4.
Syndicate?
Yes. No, that was the one in London.
Oh, okay.
The one before that one. But I do really miss the part where it's like, and this game does it a little bit. I think it actually does it pretty well. But the whole hold A to run up and hold B to run down kind of thing, like I think that is genuinely, they figured these controls out like 6 games ago. Like why they keep changing them, I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, it feels weird, but whatever. Still enjoying it. So.
Yep. Same. Like I said, all I'm doing right now is exploring. It's like I'm high enough level to go collect these synchronization points and start wiping out these castles. Because it's the whole thing of you can't destroy legendary gear. All you can do is bring it up to your level. And what you're looking for specifically is the perks that it comes with. And every time you get it, you unlock the legendary perk associated with it for your engraving. So like I still use the tool armor where it's like every time I kill someone, I will kill a different person with the kunai as long as I can and as long as they're in sight. Now I'm looking for a different legendary perk which I can put on that. But the way you unlock them is you unlock the legendary actual items. So that's why I'm clearing out the castles. It's like just give me all of the engravings. I just want the engravings, and then I'll see what I like and what works with what set of armor that I like to use, and so on and so forth.
Right.
But yeah, it's fun. I'm having a good time just rolling around, murking fools, double canto, stabs to the face, that kind of stuff.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, that's all I've been playing. Nimp, take us away.
I have one other game to kind of talk about, and that is Xenoblade Chronicles X Definitive Edition.
Ooh.
Now, the reason I only have a little bit to talk about this is because when I was mostly playing this, it was when I was super sick, so I was hopped up on medication, and most of this game was a fever dream for me, which fit really well with playing it anyway. Yeah. So, the Definitive Edition, they added a lot of quality of life stuff to make the game easier to play. Not that the first one was easier, it was just there's a ton of systems in this game. Go ahead.
It's the one from the Wii, right?
The Wii U.
Okay.
Yeah, because they had the touchpad, the Wii U pad, that you had the touchscreen with the map and stuff to use at the same time while you were playing.
Okay.
So this game still has a ton of systems. They got rid of a couple of them just to kind of help make it a little easier to play it and not worry about it too much. But you do still have to worry about, like, oh, if you want to do the extra damage, pay attention to your skills because some of them will do more damage if you're on the blind side, if it's a side attack, if it's a front attack, that kind of thing. It is very much the MMO combat of, yeah, I'm like 50 feet away from that monster, but because when it was initiating its attack, I was right next to it, it's still going to hit me unless my stats are really high up for it to miss kind of thing. So sometimes you do a lot of running away from big things you've accidentally ticked off and you still get killed. So you have to pay attention to that. Something that has consistently thrown me off is that this game does not have fall damage, which really sucks when I go back to playing Assassin's Creed Shadows, which does have fall damage. So just...
if you like playing as Naue, Naue has the roll, which at the first upgrade you get for the roll reduces fall damage. The second time you get the upgrade, it mitigates it completely. So you can just jump off the tallest things and just be like, roll, and be fine.
There's been so many times where I've just wanted to jump off things and it didn't work out, which is why I do it in this game now. This game, so for anyone who's never played it, basically the idea behind this is it is not a direct sequel or link to any of the other Xenoblade games, sagas, whatever. It's the story behind it is Earth is being attacked by aliens. As a last resort, Earth has sent out these lifeline ships to try to just get everyone away from Earth, because it starts off with like these two alien factions fighting each other over Earth, and then you assume Earth gets destroyed because everyone just says it does. So you were on one of these lifeboats. The aliens that were fighting you years ago find you again, attack the main ship. The ship is built where it's basically got like this dome that's the main city where everyone lives. That thing gets detached, crash lands on this planet, and now this is your home base, and this is new LA. So, because every one of these was named after a populated city on Earth. So that's where this one happened to launch.
LA is definitely populated, so okay.
So it starts out fine. It's never had like a big story to kind of follow. It's always just been like, hey, here's like this big open world for you to just go explore and look at these big monsters that you could attack. It's not going to go well for you right now, but you could fight them if you wanted to. And as the game continues, you do eventually can fight those because you do get mechs. They don't unlock until like very late in the game. I made it up to chapter 5, and I believe you get the Skell license test quest at the end of 6. Chapter 6.
Okay.
Is when that happens. These chapters, like the first couple of them, like getting through chapter 1 through 3, like it's very short. It's basically just, oh, hey, you did a quick story mission, now you're on the next chapter. Around 5 is where they start to get a little bit longer, just because it's having you go into areas that the enemies are a lot higher than you are, so you have to do a little bit of grinding. There is a very good way to grind in this to get up to level 20 pretty quickly, which I would highly recommend for starting out. It's a very easy, like, once you get to level 10, you just do this repeatable quest, and then you spend like 20-30 minutes running it, and then you're like level 20, and then you can just kind of move on and actually start doing like story missions and stuff. Highly recommend people do that. It's going to make your life a lot easier. But yeah, it's just exploring, running around, having a ton of fun doing it, fighting random bosses, fighting random enemies. I hit a plot point that I completely forgot about from the original game that blew my mind a second time seeing it again, because it had been so long since I played the first game and I was having a fever dream. But I think I'm 20 hours in all told.
Okay.
And I am just wanting my Skell so bad, because when you get those mechs, it opens up the world in completely different ways, because these mechs are massive, and you can switch to them at any point in time. As soon as you leave the city, like, you can switch over to your Skell mech in that moment, and those things are just massive. And there's different versions. Like there's a heavy, there's an infiltrator type. Like there's just different types of mechs you can buy. You can equip them in different ways, and then it starts turning into a front mission game, and then it just it's just a nerdgasm with mechs.
Yep.
And that
mechs are so good.
They are, and they're designed really well too. They all
Yeah.
look really cool. A lot of people don't like the heavy ones because they're just like massive bulk armor, like squat looking things, but it's like, but that thing has like a heavy, like 280 millimeter cannons on its back. Like,
Jeez.
yeah, I'm gonna use the heavy. Like, so I am super looking forward to getting the mechs again. But right now, I've just been hitting the story beats so I can get to that point and just having a blast with it. So if you've ever wanted to check out this game and you missed it on the Wii U, the definitive edition on the Switch is currently the best way to go about it. A lot of people have looked at the files, and it looks like there's going to be an option for the Switch 2, if anyone's picking that up at any point, to be able to get this to go like the full 60 frames per second at like 120 FPS or you know, whatever. There's like a bunch of like different things that are currently hidden behind code that everyone's like, oh yeah, this is probably like the Switch 2 options that will be unlocked
like
later.
Frame rates and resolution and all that.
Yeah, so yeah, it's just a fun game. It doesn't feel dated at all. It's just a weird game where you just run around, blow things up, get your butt handed to you, and just pick back up and go at it again. So
yeah,
hopefully I'll keep playing it because I really want those skulls. But yeah, that's all I've really been doing this week. Besides, I guess there's two more things I can talk about real quick. I have all the Pokemon in the Pokemon trading card game for the first 3 packs, and I also have all the Pokemon for the Mystic Island pack.
Ooh, dang.
Thank you, Bill Sifford, for whatever it is you do to get all of these cards.
Card game MVP, Bill Sifford.
Dude, because I just posted... hit my mic again.
No.
I just...
Addiction problem MVP.
Well, I was trying to, like, market it a little bit.
Yeah, but... I just posted in the Pokemon chat. It's like, man, I am just missing like this one stupid card, and then open up the app next. Bill Sifford's already hit me up with a trade for that card, and I'm like, all right, what do you want for it? And he's like, whatever you don't need. I'm like, cool.
There you go.
Thank you, old holder of the cards. And then the next thing that I have, just real quick, my son, because they've been on spring break this week as well, decided to start up Dark Souls. God, I couldn't get
the first one
for a moment. Yeah.
Oh.
I have the remaster version. He grabbed it. He played it. He's already platinumed the game.
Jeez. Spring break, huh?
That makes me extremely jealous because I'm like, man, I'm like trying to play like 15 minutes of Assassin's Creed.
That's right.
And you're just like already on your second run, dumping like 80 hours in a week.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the beauty of youth.
That's right.
Yeah, basically. So he really, really liked the game. I'm like, cool, glad you enjoyed it. Because he also really liked Demon Souls when he played the remake for the PS5. So I don't know where he's thinking he wants to play another Souls game. I don't know where he's thinking he wants to go with it next. But I told him he should do 2. And he's like, yeah, but I hear 2's not great. And I'm like, you should play 2.
Yeah, just try it out, man. You might be a 2 defender.
Yeah, exactly. There are things that 2 does wrong. But 2 had some interesting ideas, and they tried to take the franchise in a different way. Did it pay off? Not really, no. But I'm not going to be one of those people that sits there and be like, no, you can't play it. It sucks. It's like, it was fine. It was fine.
Try it out.
So, yeah. But yeah, that's all that's been happening in this household, really. So, just trying to recover.
Yeah. All right, I platinumed 2 Point Museum. I got the last trophies
oh my God,
I needed.
you people in all your free time.
I know, how cute. Thankfully, this one wasn't too much longer. Though a lot of it was like, I had the one specific employee I needed to keep sending out on expeditions to get their XP up to level 20. Once I did that, did the last training, and then like a combination of that and changing my marketing campaign to something different. It was basically I changed it to the whatever I had the most in the museum, which I think was prehistory stuff. Changes to that pushed me over the level 50 museum, and then I got the platinum. So that was
Nice.
hooray! This game's great. Curious to see if they're going to announce any DLC like the other two games. I didn't play any of the DLC in the other games because I feel like
Same. You kind of get what you want from them in the base game. Is how I've
I was
always
trying
felt.
to figure out a way to say that, but I think that's the best way of putting it. Like I think by the time I'm done with the game, I'm kind of done with it, and like some of the stuff from like 2 Point Campus was neat. Like here's Space School and here's a bunch of other stuff, and I was like, yeah, but I think it's gonna kind of be more of 2 Point Campus, and that's cool. But I don't. I feel like I'm pretty satisfied by the time that I'm done with what I've been playing, and I really feel like that's the case for me here with Museum. Sort of like, cool, I played this for a whole bunch of time, like way more than I expected for a $30 game. So I'm fine. Like I'm okay with just being done at this point. So I still really recommend it. I really love all three of these games. All three of them are different and really good, but for totally different reasons. So all of them are great. So check them out. Next up here is Destiny 2. Surprisingly, episode 3 is over now. There was a 2-week thing for the end of the episode. So I haven't talked really a lot about the story. I just want to go over it briefly, kind of now that it's done. But the whole thing about the story for this episode was at the beginning, Eris dies. She's the one with the like 3 eyes, and she had
Yeah.
the thing on the sort of
Shadow
devil
lady.
eyes. Yeah, Shadow Lady, the spooky goth lady.
It's pronounced Aerith. Thank you very much.
That's right. Yes. So she dies in like the very first mission at the beginning, and then kind of because of stuff that's happened over the last couple of years, Destiny lore time, she got her own throne world, which is like the hive. Like you died, you went to this like massively powerful thing. Turns out because of the things that we've done recently, she's like the most powerful hive god now. Which
You've turned her into a Grand Lich, and
yeah,
now it's your problem to solve.
pretty much, yeah. Thankfully, she's at the moment on her side. But as part of it too, all three of these episodes have had echoes. These kind of, and I talked about it before, but these like little shards of the Traveler that fell off at the end of the final shape, and they're all really, really powerful. The fate of the first two episodes are what they are. This one turned out to be basically it's a copy of Oryx, the bad guy from Destiny 1, the Taken King. And that's where it happened. I was talking about, I think it was last week, of the bad guy being like, you killed me? That's awesome. You should do all this stuff. And it was Oryx basically being like, look, you should listen to them. If they were strong enough to kill me, they have to be pretty powerful. Maybe they should run the Taken. And like maybe they should be the Taken King. And it was a lot of everybody else being like, no? Wait, what? No, why? Like another hive should be the Taken King. Like that should be our thing. And he's like, well, neither of my siblings could kill me, so clearly you're not up to the task. And they were like, excuse me? Pardon? So
Getting dragged into family feuds.
Pretty much, and like it kind of started a like a bit of a civil war in the hive because of Oryx basically like saying like, hey, the Guardians should do this because clearly they're the strongest out of everybody here. And a whole bunch of stuff happens, which is kind of a bummer that you eventually have to destroy that the echo of Oryx at the end. But some incredible voice delivery by Oryx at the end. Some really just great writing from the writing team that got laid off quite a while ago. But I think my only I don't know if it's criticism, but maybe potentially concern. There's like one more big um, Destiny like content drop, I guess is like the most PR way of putting it. Um, the first expansion, so there's a set of expansions called Frontiers, which is Bungie's big thing of like, we're going to leave the Sol system and we're going to go do something else. I think it's codename Apollo is the first one. That's still coming this summer. And Bungie just kind of, with the marathon unveiling from this weekend, Bungie just committed to that of saying like, yeah, it's still coming this summer. We're not talking about it right now. We're talking about marathon. Go watch the trailers. But I was sort of hoping that the end of this episode would be the kind of lead in to whatever this expansion is going to be. It wasn't really. It was basically a bad guy from before who was our friend is now a bad guy again, basically threatening us. And then saying like, all right, see you later. I hope I never see you because I have to kill you then. So they're doing this really interesting thing called, oh my God, I don't even remember what it's called. Something of the Nine. And basically it's like a dungeon challenge mode. So they're doing two more difficulties of dungeons. One is it's basically like you see this in World of Warcraft with their learning version of dungeons. They're doing their own version of that, where it's like you go into a dungeon, it gives you one of those like little diamond symbols of like, here's the thing you need to interact with. You go over to it, it'll give you say like, hey, you need to connect these circuits to start this encounter, and once you do that, connect 3 additional circuits. Here's how to connect them, and it kind of leads you without watching a YouTube video. Thankfully, it'll lead you like, here's this encounter, here's how to do it, here's how you can learn how to do this encounter, and then after you do that, you're kind of ready to do the more difficult versions, which is greatly appreciated, especially as new players are still trying to come into the game, and the answer for so many of the dungeons is go watch a Dado video, or go watch a Fallout video, or go watch a video to prepare you how to run this thing, or you can figure it out yourself, but it can be a little bit obtuse every once in a while. And then they're going to have like a much more difficult version of these dungeons for kind of like the hardcore end game raider peeps. So I'm hoping that will lead into the next expansion in some way. If not, then I'm not sure where they're going to do that. But hopefully they do it at some point. But
I'm interested in them leaving the solar system. That'd be cool.
100%. So, like there's been a couple of pieces of concept art they showed, I don't know how long ago, when they sort of announced the plan for everything. And some of them are neat, like alien planets. There was one where it looked like a bunch of people had built a temple, and then at the top of the temple where the flames come out underneath a NASA spaceship, those things kind of set up around the top of the temple. I was like, dang, that's pretty cool. Like you've got, again, Bungie has some cool design and art stuff, so we'll see where the rest of that stuff goes. But hopefully they've done a really good job in the past of, all right, these episodes or these seasons are done. It sort of naturally leads into the expansion, and then the expansion leads into the next set of seasons. So it's been a little bit surprising that didn't happen here, but there's still a little bit more time for them to kind of release whatever the next thing is. So I'm hoping they kind of connect that stuff before the next expansion. I'm going to play it anyway, so like I don't really care, but from a storyline perspective, it's always kind of nice. Next game here, I got 2 more. Vampire Survivors came out with a
free update.
You're just playing the hits, right?
I'm just playing the hits, man. Keeping the theme going. They released couldn't have guessed this DLC. It's called Emerald Diorama. It's a Saga Emerald Beyond DLC. So one of the most hardcore, like, impenetrable JRPGs, and the most recent version of that. So they have released a DLC of that. That stage is wild, as I sort of expected. Also, it does the thing that the Saga games do, where if anyone hasn't played the Saga games, you basically learn skills by using other skills. In Emerald Beyond, it's called glimmering. You basically, like, you have this kind of bright idea of, like, oh, if I've learned these two skills, maybe if I can combine them automatically, and you just use them through, you learn them through using other skills. They do that in this too. So, like, you pick up a sword and you use it a whole bunch, and it procs and hits a bunch of enemies. The screen will zoom in and you get the, like, little glimmer banner. You'll be like, oh, I learned a new skill, and now this sword is way more powerful and doing ridiculous stuff.
Nice.
So, thank you, Vampire Survivors, for continuing to be ridiculous, as you always are. This is a free DLC, too. It looks like it has a couple of weapons. I think a couple of characters. From what
Yeah,
I
a
can
handful
tell.
of characters, weapons, and a new map.
Yeah.
I think just one new map. Yeah.
I think one map, yeah. There's also, alongside this, there's a the Coop update, which is some sort of co-op update. I can't tell if that's out right now or if that's coming next. So don't quote me if that's available at the moment or not. But I only got a little bit of time to play this this week, but it was largely like me firing up my PS5, checking for an update, and it said, yeah, we've got an update, and it, like, updates the game and all the DLCs, and it's like, okay, perfect. So did one run of the level, and then looked at all the unlocks. It's like, oh, okay, cool, I got like 40 more unlocks. Okay, great. Vampire Survivors. So that seems like it's more Vampire Survivors in kind of the best way. They did mention, though, that the cross save functionality that they're looking to come out with apparently isn't going to come out on PlayStation platforms, because they ran into some sort of major issue. What a surprise. Someone ran into a major issue with Sony and cross save and crossplay. I'm mystified.
Who would have thunk it?
Yeah, never happened before. So still holding out hope for that, but if not, oh no, I get to play Vampire Survivors on PC more when I'm playing with friends. Oh, shucks. So not.
Yeah, I should really boot that back up.
Yeah, it's real good. Real good, especially to play that Castlevania DLC. It's really great.
I think the Contra one was the last one that I was trying to really get through on the Xbox version.
Oh, okay.
Because I was caught up on everything else up to that DLC, I think it was.
Right.
But now I was kind of like, well, I'm just gonna wait until there's a couple more DLCs out, and now there's like 3 or 4 more that's come out since then, and they've all been like massive.
Yeah, the Castlevania one's really good. The Among Us one is really good, and this Saga one seems like it's really good. So
yeah,
it's great. Vampire Survivors continues to be real good. So yeah, real good. Last game here, but certainly not least, Blueprints came out.
Oh man,
this past week.
I didn't think we were gonna get a same week synopsis on this game.
I know. I wasn't expecting it, but it is. It's. I think it's rated E. So I was like, well, I just here. I'm playing next to my kid. Like, here, let's figure out this puzzle game together. Let's do this. I will give a warning that this is very much a me game. So if you're a longtime listener and you don't vibe with games that I really like, this one isn't going to be the one to really change your mind here.
But you'll never know until you buy the game and try it yourself.
Right. But it is on Game Pass and PS Plus, if I remember correctly.
Okay.
It's definitely on PS Plus. PS Plus Extra or whatever. So the setup here for the game is you have been in a relative's will, you have been given his mansion. And he said, the only thing is you don't get to keep it until you have found the 46th room in my 45-room mansion. good luck. And the only rules are you can't bring in anything from outside. Anything you gather from the mansion can't leave the grounds. You can't stay there overnight. And how the game works is you start every day fresh. There's no floor plan for the house. You have no items. You have nothing with you. And when you go up to a doorway, you get 3 options for rooms you can lay down, and they all have different things on them. Like you put a closet there, it has 2 items for you. You put a bedroom down. Every time you walk, you walk through it, you get 2 more steps. Basically, the steps that you have, you start every day with 50 of them. When you run out of them, your day is over. Even if you're not ready to be done, every time you walk into a room, it takes 1 step. So basically, it's 50. You can kind of add or subtract those as you go. And really, what you're doing is you're kind of seeing how deep you can get into the mansion before you either kind of draw yourself in a circle and you run out of rooms, or you run out of... Some rooms take keys to open, some rooms take gems to open, and you're kind of earning them as you go through. And you're essentially just trying to figure out the puzzle of the mansion. And a lot of it in the early going is, okay, I'm going to just try and figure out what I'm doing. And it's like any good puzzle game of like, that's all the information you're given. Go build the mansion. Like that's what you gotta go do. So a lot of your first couple of days are going and saying, oh, okay, if I put this room next to this room, it does that thing, and oh, okay, now here's how I solve one of these puzzles. It's 3 boxes. You know, one of them lies, one of them tells the truth, and one of them has a treasure in it. Or like,
wait, I know that one.
yeah, like it's and like every time you solve one, the next one gets harder, which is devious. There's also a really devious math one, which I have about half of a notebook page filled with just the rules of that one, which is rough.
Tell me, Sphinx, who is the liar?
Yeah, exactly. And a lot of it is like, oh, okay, so if these rooms kind of synergize with these rooms, and these rooms do these things. Oh, I haven't seen this room before. Let me lay that one down and try and figure out the puzzle in there. And it seems like for some rooms that you put down, you have to solve the puzzle inside of it every time you go through. And some of them, you figure out the puzzle the first time, and it seems like it's kind of set from there. Like the conservatory, once I laid that down and I solved the puzzle in there, every time I put that tile down, the puzzle's solved every time, which is interesting. But like when you go in the parlor and you have the math puzzle, solve that every time, it kind of opens up and gives you some items.
Gotcha.
And then once you're done with the day, or like me, you kind of get yourself stuck into a corner. It's like, oh, well, now I can't get further in the mansion because I like didn't plan my route correctly. You call it a day, which is the option in the menu. It wipes your inventory. It wipes the house. It gives you a little bit of like fun stats at the end of like, you laid down 20 rooms and you took this many steps and you found this many items and that stuff. It wipes that whole thing. You start at the entrance, and then you go again, and you try and get further and further in as you go. I think if you like puzzle games like The Witness or Animal Well or Fez or things like that, it's more along the lines of that. It's maybe less along the lines of like the Obra Dinn, where you're kind of solving puzzles rapidly. This one unfolds pretty slowly. I like it because I'm not sitting there with a wiki of like, what are the hidden secrets in
Yeah.
the 4-way corridor, and people are like, oh well, at 50 runs in you find this thing, and that sort of thing.
It's like, oh, put 3 pantries back to back, and you find the butcher's room or
Exactly.
some
Like
random
I
thing.
don't even
Yeah.
know if that's the case. I haven't even tried to do that, but like part of the excitement for me for this game is very much that thing of like, is there any synergy between rooms when you set, X room next to Y room? Does that do something? Or like, I found a, a, a thing where like you lay down the garage and it has like, its thing is like there's a car in there, there's 3 keys in there, so you lay it down for I think one gem and you get 3 keys. That's a pretty good deal. But there was a thing in there that had a button on it, and the button didn't work. I was like, okay, that's weird. Eventually found, I don't want to spoil it, but I eventually found another tile that allowed me to use that, and it opened up some additional stuff in the mansion. I was like, okay, cool. So now I know if I need to do this, I can draft both of those tiles and then kind of do this. I found the pool in the mansion, and when you lay that down, it then adds a couple of additional tiles to the things you can draft for that run that directly interact with and affect the pool. I was like, okay, cool. So now I'm sort of like starting to get a little bit more of an idea of kind of how these things connect with each other. But part of what I like about games like this is going in completely blind with a completely blank notebook and saying like, okay, I found this room that has a padlock on it. It needs 4 numbers. I'm just going to write that down of like, this room has padlock, 4 numbers. And I will find 4 numbers at some point, I'm assuming, and then say, oh, okay, perfect. That probably connects with this, and then I can find out what's behind that at another point. Because of excuse me, because of all the stuff that I've been reading in the game, there's not a lot of like papers and things you're digging through. But at some point, they kind of lead you down the road of your first kind of larger puzzle to solve. This is where Animal Well and Fez and The Witness and all these things remind me of like, oh, okay, you have a kind of base level of puzzles here, but is there another level on top of that? I've found that for myself. And I was like, okay, so now I have an additional objective here of, as I'm doing these runs, I'm kind of gathering additional information here and trying to figure out what this next puzzle is on top of the other ones. So that's kind of what I've been doing at this point. I think I'm at day like 15, 20, something like that. And some of my days, I keep wanting to call them runs in like a roguelike parlance, but like,
I was going to ask you, does it feel like a roguelike with everything just basically
kind of? But I've seen some people. I've been trying to keep it away from social media lately for a lot of reasons. That's why I've been doing so good at reading books lately. As you've seen in the Discord. Yeah, social media is going great. But like, one of the things is when I latch onto a puzzle game like this that I like, and it seemed to have a really long review period, which is great for games that are kind of more complex like this. A lot of the reviewers and journalists that I've been following have been like, oh my god, I can't wait until you get to X, Y, and Z because that really changed it. And I was like, I don't want to know. I don't want to know any of this. Like, I don't. Yeah. I want to keep kind of unfolding the game by myself. So I hesitate to call it a roguelike because I think roguelike and roguelite has so much baggage now, especially as I feel like so many games that are coming out have these elements in them. I would almost call it like a run-based puzzle game, like if people like roguelikes, then sure, it's a roguelike. If people don't like roguelikes, it isn't really a roguelike. It's just part of the puzzle is, okay, I have an end to each day. Like either I've built myself into a corner, I've run out of steps, or I kind of don't know where I'm going, or I like couldn't figure out a puzzle. I have to take a break and sort of refresh the mansion and start back fresh the next day.
So it's a Souls-like.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, the combat is real deliberate. Yeah.
The stamina with the steps. I mean, my God.
Yeah, it's really got all these games. Yeah. So like I hesitate to say like, oh, it's a roguelike puzzler, because I feel like that's a different game.
Different
but
thing. Yeah.
It really is a puzzle game that has these kind of, it's like run based. It is, you're not in there of like, you look at something like Animal Well, where it's like, okay, you have this big interconnected world, almost like a Metroidvania, but it isn't really a Metroidvania. It's like kind of like a platform puzzler thing. And I feel the same way here with Blueprints, of just like, yeah, you're doing runs, but without the baggage of it. It's kind of like you're doing these short kind of puzzle games trying to figure out what's going on. And then once you do that, then it's kind of like, okay, I've gained a little bit more information. On the next day, I can use that to solve this next thing. Or oh, I haven't seen this room before. Let me try and figure that out. So I think if all of that sounds good, I think Blueprints might be your jam. If you're like me and you're like, okay, I'm firing up this game for the first time, I'm opening up a notebook and I'm writing at the top Blueprints, and I have my notebook and my pencil here, like, and I'm drawing maps and I'm writing codes and I'm doing all that sort of stuff. Like, if that sounds exciting to you, then like this game will probably do it for you. But if a kind of slow moving discovery first person puzzle game kind of doesn't sound like it's for you, I'm not sure that I've seen enough to say like, oh, it's really great, but like kind of get over the initial hump or whatever.
Stick with it for the first 20 hours and
kinda, yeah, like for me, like that's an interesting appealing part of like, oh, I'm gonna kind of be mired in this game for a while to kind of start figuring out its secrets. But I know for a lot of people, and understandably, they might be like, oh my God, like I have to play a whole bunch just to like figure out what the rules are. And I'm like, yeah, if that's not for you, like I totally understand where you might be coming from. So it might not be, for you, but for me so far, it's just been, I've been riveted by this game, and I think it's been really, really cool, and I'm very excited to see where it's going to continue to go, especially as I'm starting to get that first kind of breadcrumb trail of just like, oh, okay, there's something else going on here. Like maybe the goal I was working towards is maybe potentially a goal, but maybe that's not the only goal that I'm shooting for. So that seems really cool. So that's Blueprints. It's on PS Plus Extra and above. I'm fairly sure it's on Game Pass. Someone will remember from last week's episode. But I think it's really cool, and I'm really excited to continue to kind of sink my teeth into it. It only came out a couple of days ago. It came out on the 10th. So there's not.
I was gonna say, listening to you talk about it and a couple other people talk about it, it just really reminded me of like the old Myst and Riven series.
Very much
a little
so.
bit.
Yeah, that's a great point. Yeah, like it's that kind of like, it's very much like Myst and Riven of just like, we're dumping you into this thing, start figuring it out. Like we're gonna give you a little bit of advice here, and I think a lot of the strength of this game is its interface. Like when you're drafting one of your 3 rooms, when you get to a new room, you can push a button and you'll see your entire map over in the left hand side of the screen, so you can see exactly how it's going to So you don't have to like pull up the blueprint menu. You can see exactly how it's going to fit in all the rest of the stuff, and kind of the snaking path you've made through. But that's a really good comparison, I think, of like if you liked the kind of like open-ended mystery of like I'm just gonna explore and see what I can do. I think that's a good similarity. So Blueprints, I'm gonna keep playing that, and we'll see over the next couple of weeks how I feel about it, and as I keep digging into it and trying to figure out more secrets and see if I stick with it. So seems like it's up my alley so far. So
cool.
But that's all I'm playing this week. Let's take a break.
Yep.
Did I write down all those games? Yes, I did. Okay. I'm glad to do the chapter markers too, because sure. Because every once in a while I'm like, oh, I totally forgot to write down that game. Whoops. My bad.
There's like 2 games on here that are coming out this week that I'm super looking forward to.
Yeah, it's
there's only one of them I'm actually going to buy right now, and I'm not even going to play it when I get it. So.
Yeah, there have been a lot of really great releases so far this year, and I was hoping we would have a little bit of a quieter year, but apparently not.
I had this thought while I was kind of going to sleep one night of I wish the video game industry would just decide that, like, 2028, we're not releasing any games. We'll release DLC.
Right.
And we'll release updates.
We're going to work on our engines. We're going to...
Yeah, everyone is going to figure their crap out internally.
Right. Middleware,
you guys
the
have
year
a
of the
year
middleware.
Yeah, you guys will have a year of catching up on the video games that you haven't been able to play. And then 2028, we're going to come back strong.
I'm all for it. Let's do
it.
Oh, man.
Especially because, it seems like every month there's like 1 or 2 games that comes out. And it's like, man, that sounds really interesting. But either I definitely don't have the time right now, or I don't have the money for it, because there's like already a couple games that I'm like, yeah, no, that I'm buying on a release, but the other ones will have to wait until later.
Yeah.
Man.
Yeah.
I want technology to get to the point where we just have the chamber from Dragon Ball Z, where I can just hide in there for like 2 days, and then 5 years have passed inside, and I'm caught up on everything.
Yep. Yep. Just give me a chance.
Yep.
Yeah. Oh man. All right. Let's see if there's any last minute Switch 2 news stories. No, it does not look like it. Okay. Phew.
Yeah, it kind of sounded like it all started and ended with their announcement. Like nothing else has really come out besides people just speculating on a bunch of stuff that they've heard.
Yeah, we have one news story. There was also that frustrating news story this week where people are like, Switch 2 games are now $90? It's like, no. Switch 2 games are 90 euros. That does not mean certain Switch 2 games are 90 euros. That does not mean that they are 90 US dollars. Those are different currencies. You should know that.
Yeah, you should know. Just Google it.
Yeah.
What is USD in pounds or euros or, whichever country you're looking at, the yen. The yen, it's pretty close right now. It's almost 1-to-1. If it's, 9,000 yen is like $9.
Something like that. That's how I always estimate it, is like it's just missing the decimal point. And it's like you get close enough usually.
It's usually in Europe where you have to really pay attention to Europe and Canada. You really have to pay attention to what they're listing there.
Yeah. Okay. Are you guys ready for the other part here?
Yep.
Sure.
All right. Let's get started in 3, 2, 1. Let's talk releases for the week of April 14th, 2025. Lost Records Bloom & Rage Tape 2, coming out on PS5, Series Console, and PC. This is the second half of Lost Records, which, if you have played that, You should go listen to our Game Club episode of that, the surprisingly spicy episode of Game Club for that. And if you missed the first half of this game, it's Don't Nod's new game. Their new Montreal studio. This is Don't Nod made the original Life is Strange game, Life is Strange 1 and 2. So they're making another one of those. It's very, very similar, sort of thematically and gameplay wise, to Life is Strange. So if you like that sort of stuff, like we do, and we try to play as many of those on Game Club as we can, it's very, very similar. So I personally am very curious to see what the heck the second half of this game is going to be. I'm had plenty of feelings in the Game Club episode about where this game is going and how the first half ended. So we'll see here very shortly where this goes, and we should be playing it unless things go really awry. We should be playing it next month for our next Game Club episode. So check that out. Next game here, Indiana Jones and the Great Circle, comes out on PS5. I think this was originally supposed to be coming out in February, but now it's coming out in April.
Yeah.
People really loved this when it came out last year on PC and Xbox. So,
well, it seemed to hit a weird beat too, because a lot of people started out enjoying it, and then they get to like a certain point, and everyone's like, "Man, it just kind of got really slow." And then everyone else is like, "Well, that's when it gets really good, is during this part." And
okay.
It kind of seemed like a very specific. People came in here thinking it was going to be one type of game, and it turned out to be another, and it got kind of weird after that.
Yeah, because I think I was most surprised at people saying that it's a lot less action-y than they were expecting, and a lot more kind of exploration, puzzle solving. Which I'm like, okay, that sounds great, but I think people were expecting it to be like whipping and punching Nazis all day, which like that would be great too, because that should definitely happen. But like, I think a lot of people were sort of saying like, yeah, this isn't what I expected, and it's really great. I think a lot of other people being like, I'm solving a lot of puzzles in the Vatican, man. I don't really know. So I don't know. I want to get to
what
this.
It is.
Yeah, like that's what it is. So I'm excited to get to it eventually. I'd really like to play it, and I haven't really had the time to do it yet. But people seem to really like it. And I think everything that people were talking about is a lot of like, yeah, I could check that out. That seems great. Machine Games makes great stuff. So check it out. Check it out if you've got a PS5 Pro. Apparently, it's got some patches in there for that if you're like a Rockefeller and you can afford that thing. Next game here, Mandragora Whispers of the Witch Tree, comes out on... Oh, that's Indiana Jones still. Boop. Comes out on PS5, Series Console, Switch, and PC. This is a really interesting looking kind of side-scrolling hack and slash. I wanted to say Metroidvania originally, but I kind of couldn't tell if it had any like Metroidvania map making things. If it does, I haven't seen it in any of these trailers. But it looks has a cool art style. Has 3 different individual classes. Has a whole like incredibly huge skill tree that you can go.
It has like a sphere grid in there.
Like. Thankfully not like a Path of Exile thing. Like it's not nearly that bananas. But kind of cool looking. It looks like a really interesting kind of like a dodge based hack and slash thing. Like not necessarily. From what I saw, it didn't look like a kind of Souls-like sort of deliberate thing. It looks like it was a little bit more hack and slashy than that. So I think it looks cool. I haven't seen anything about this. I think there's a demo of it out if people wants to check it out. But that's Mandragora Whispers of the Witch Tree coming out this week. Next up, a game called Rusty Rabbit. This is coming out on PS5, Switch, and PC. Nope, that's Marathon. That's Rusty Rabbit. Yeah, I'm messing it up today. I'm a professional. You have probably heard about this game as the game where it's a cute rabbit that's piloting a mech suit, and in the Japanese version, the guy who does Kiryu's voice from the Yakuza games, does the voice for this.
Oh, nice.
So this very like grizzled, hardened. The English trailer, I think, has a pretty good voice for him too. This kind of like down on his luck Southern accent, which I think is really great.
I love how they call out that the rabbit is a middle-aged rabbit.
Yeah, it's really good. It's this kind of like, it almost seems like it's kind of like StarCraft, where it's like this is just like a normal dude, like just like a normal mining dude. This isn't really like a special guy, a special rabbit. So this seems really interesting. This seems kind of like a 2D side-scrolling kind of beat 'em up Metroidvania skill-based thing. So you should probably check a trailer out for this. It looks very cute, but it also looks really interesting from a gameplay perspective. It looks like it is maybe a bit more on the kind of tactical, sort of technical end, with like lots of movement tech and stuff like that. So looks neat. That's Rusty Rabbit. It's got a great name too. And last but certainly not least, Lunar Remastered Collection comes out PS4, Xbox One, Switch, and PC. This is the double pack of Lunar Silver Star Story Complete and Lunar 2 Eternal Blue Complete. I think the thing that's most striking of this is how good not only the game but the cutscenes look. They've done some real work on these cutscenes to make it look just outstanding. And I've never played either of these games. We were talking about on a pup this past month of like, by the time you caught the issue of EGM that told you these games are great, these working designs, ostentatious collector's editions were way too like outpriced of your budget, and you just they never came to anything else. So
yeah, my thing was I just never knew that they exist. Like the one that I have sitting up there, I found at a Babbage's when I was in middle school, and I skipped a lot of lunches to save up that $70 for that game, and it sat there for weeks, and I was the only one who, because even the store manager and stuff was like, "Are you gonna buy that game at some point?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm saving up money for it." He's like, "Okay, because you come in here like every weekend," and I'm like, "Yeah, I'm making sure it's
just like
still
pet
there."
it softly of just like someday.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I left the price tag on my copy of the game too.
Oh yeah, yeah. So I'm kind of curious for these, because I have always wanted to play them, because people always speak really highly of these two. You can kind of ignore literally every other Lunar game because they all have massive problems for the rest of the franchise. But these are pretty cool, and I'm hoping to check them out eventually. So, have you played either one of them? Did you play? Yeah. Did you play the copy you got?
I've played the second one. I've never played the first one. Like I said, I didn't even know that they were a thing until I physically found them. But apparently, the second one takes place like 1,000 years after the first one. Oh, but it's still like directly related. So it's a good idea to play the first one, because there's apparently a bunch of stuff in the second one that it relates to. So I'm looking forward to playing that. But it's also been so long since I've played it that like this is basically going to be like a whole new run for me. It wasn't until recently, kind of weird, but every once in a while, like everyone normal, you get like a song stuck in your head.
Oh yeah.
And there's like a certain beat that I got stuck in my head that's just been there for like years. And I just recently discovered that it is the village music from Lunar 2 that just randomly pops into my head. And I, for years, couldn't remember where it came from. It was just a beat that shows up in my mind.
You heard it and you're like,
oh
my god, thank you.
Yeah. And then I was watching a video and I heard it playing in the background. I'm like, oh my god,
it's that. Yeah, that's great.
Yeah, I'm super looking forward to it. I know I think each game is about 30-ish hours.
That's not too bad.
But some of the quality of life stuff, a lot of that was because of the battles and stuff.
Yeah.
Just because of how drawn out they can be. But one of the quality of life things is that they've added a battle speed.
Yes.
That you can switch how fast the battles go. So your mileage may vary on how long it takes, but yeah, it should be about 60 hours to complete both games. Not to platinum them or anything, because I have no clue what the trophies are going to be for this thing.
I do have to give credit to a lot of publishers and developers that are working on remastering and putting out older JRPGs. I really love that they're putting in all these quality of life stuff of like you can triple speed the battles, which like Final Fantasy IX needs really badly. But like here you have God mode and you have an incredible number, like you tripling your gil and tripling experience and all that stuff. It's like perfect. Like I want these to be accessible, but you shouldn't have to play it for 100 hours just because your walk speed is glacial. Like that's great.
Like we were kind of talking about earlier. It's great when I was a kid and I had the 60 hours to dump into this.
I had the whole summer to play this game. No big deal.
Yeah, as an adult, it's kind of difficult to find 10 hours in 3 months to beat a game.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. All right, that's the releases for this week. Let's talk about 2 news stories here real quick. Nintendo has confirmed that they are not using Hall effect sticks for the Switch 2. That was the big question that we had. Well, one of the big questions that we had coming out of last week's Direct, and they have said that they are definitely not doing that. They also seem to have a bit of an attitude about it when people are asking them about it, because that is understandably the question on everybody's lips coming out of the Switch 1 is just, hey, what about that drift? You gonna do the Hall effect sticks that largely cut down on all of those concerns? And Nintendo's,
especially since the new controllers are going to be like $90.
Yeah, that's not cheap, man.
Yeah.
So they said, I had to read out this guy's whole title. Nate Bildorf, which is the Nintendo of America Senior Vice President of Product Development and Publishing, said, quote, "Well, the Joy-Con 2's controllers have been designed from the ground up. They're not Hall effect sticks, but they feel really good," end quote. Which is pretty clear. In a hardware Q&A session, Tetsuya Sasaki said, quote, "New Joy-Con 2 controllers have been designed from the ground up from scratch to have bigger movement and also a lot smoother movement," end quote. Cool, but
I mean, wasn't bigger movement the whole point of the Wii?
Right, but also smooth movement wasn't the concern. It was drift.
Yeah.
So
it was when the movement stopped working.
Yeah, or when like my Stardew Valley farmer was just always running to the left forever. Like that was the problem. It wasn't that like, boy, I wish these sticks moved further, or I wish the sticks moved a little smoother. It's like, no, I wish you used magnets. So there was...
No, they're just going to have a giant dead zone, and it's going to be cheap as hell to manufacture. That's all you need to know.
Yeah, exactly. It'll be fine. Yeah. So that's a bit of a bummer. The Hall effect sticks are like, they're not perfect, obviously, because they still have moving parts in them, because of how they're manufactured and because of how they work. They are considerably less affected by drift, or like prone to making drift. So I think that was the real hope of like, okay, cool, you have this technology that's largely proven to be way better about this. You're gonna use that, right? And of course Nintendo's like, nah. I'm good. Thanks so much.
Does the Xbox or PlayStation have those sticks in their controllers?
So
okay.
No.
We were talking about
saying, because my thing that I was going to bring up was I have never had drifting issues with any of my PlayStation or Xbox controllers.
Right, ditto.
But every controller that I own for my Switch, well, and I'm not saying that they don't exist,
right,
but like I'm just saying for me personally, I just haven't had any issues with them. But like every controller that I have for my Switch, my Joy-Cons, my Pros, like the official Nintendo stuff, they all have stick drift.
Yeah.
All of them.
Every single one of them.
Yeah, my Power A ones though, no problem.
Right.
I don't know what sticks they use, but that hasn't been a problem. Those are constantly being dropped by my kids.
Right.
So
yeah, we talked about it in the Discord server, and I think it was Gibbionator that said no first-party controllers have Hall effect sticks.
Okay.
Yep. All third party.
And I'm not sure why. I don't know if it's a licensing thing. I don't know if it's like a
It's a
pride
cost
thing.
thing.
Yeah.
No, it's a
Probably.
cost thing. 100% it's costing. So I think it's something like, from what I read a couple of years ago at least, and the technology's probably cheaper since then, but I think it was like a 20% increase on costs for Hall effect versus what they currently use at the moment.
It's pretty
Which,
big.
granted, when you're manufacturing the quantity of what they are,
Yeah.
that's probably like 8 cents to 12 cents.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But they just don't want to take that hit. They
Yeah.
don't. They want to do it. It's capitalism, baby. Let's do it as cheap as humanly possible.
Yeah, exactly.
And then if they have to replace it, they have to replace it. Who cares?
Right. Yeah, is it cheaper to like RMA and fix a bunch of controllers, or is it cheaper to make them with Hall effect in the first place? Capitalism. Yeah. So that's a real bummer, but like it's the least surprising thing coming out of all of this stuff.
Yeah. It wasn't a make or break thing for me. I was just curious on
Yeah.
what are you guys doing over there? Because you're the only ones that consistently have this issue.
Yeah, and there's a bunch of other news stories that came out this week too, but so much of the stuff we're not going to talk about quite yet because a lot of it, like we were talking about it during the break, of people being like, well, now Switch games cost $90. I was like, no, certain Switch games cost 90 euros. That doesn't mean they're going to cost 90 US dollars. Those are different things. So like there's so much misinformation and like kind of willful mistranslation and like misunderstandings of interviews and stuff like that. So like a lot of it is just like stuff we're not really going to talk about quite yet because it's not worth talking about stuff that's so kind of in the air at the moment. So
Yep.
well, there's
What,
still
people want to be willfully ignorant just so they can be angry at something?
exactly, yeah, and like there's plenty of stuff to be mad about with the Switch already, starting with the price, like we talked about last week. So like there's enough stuff to be frustrated about already. We don't need to be making things up. So like let's keep focused here.
But also, speaking of the prices of things, make sure you look into why things are as expensive as they are before you start running your mouth about things.
That's right. That's right. And last news story we have here, we've been talking about this lately, about trying to talk about more game awards shows and coverage other than just the Keeleys. So the BAFTAs happened this past week. Which I think is always, like the IGF awards are kind of indie focused. I think the BAFTAs in the last couple of years have been giving awards to games that are kind of, I think, surprising. They're out there kind of not always doing the populist picks, and they're sort of saying like, no, this game is really cool for these reasons, and maybe it's not the most popular one, but there's some cool stuff going here. So first off, they did give a BAFTA fellowship to Yoko Shimomura, who is a composer of I don't know how many hundreds of games, but she worked on Kingdom Hearts, Final Fantasy, Xenoblade.
A lot of stuff.
She's worked on, if it's an RPG that you've been playing, you're like, dang, this music is good. It's probably her. Chances are really good. So that's great for her to get the fellowship and get some more recognition for her music is always incredible every single time. So one of those of like, yep, you made the right choice. Good job.
And she's so varied too that it's like every once in a while you'll hear something of hers and it's not, you're not like, oh yeah, that's her. It's like, no, you have to kind of look into it and be like, oh no, that is her. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So a lot of the awards, a bunch went to Astrobot, like animation, best game, that got the overall best game here. Family, which makes sense. Game design, which I thought was really interesting for Astrobot. I think it's a really well designed game, but I'm not sure I would have guessed that to be like, it's like the best designed thing of 2024, because there was a lot of competition. I think artistic achievement went for Neva, which is the second game from the studio that made Grease, which is like, yep, that's totally understandable for their incredible games. Best British game, thank goodness you're here, which there was really only one game that could have been chosen for that category, because that game is so incredibly British that there is no competition in that category whatsoever.
Pretty much.
Best debut game, Balatro. Come on. It's just like, it's the biggest game on the planet. And it came out last year, so that's not too surprising. Best evolving game, Vampire Survivors, which I think is a really cool choice. I think when we think of best evolving game for a lot of the other ones, it's like a live service game, or it's Fortnite, or it's, you know, Call of Duty because they had a new battle pass or things like that. So I think giving Vampire Survivors a bit of love there, I think makes a whole lot of sense, especially with, like we were just talking about earlier, for how much free DLC they put out for the game, where it's like, yeah, here's just a bunch of new stuff, and also here's co-op, and here's crossplay, and here's all this other stuff. Game Beyond Entertainment was Tales of Kenzera Zao, which is their kind of like, we see this category named a couple of different things in award shows of like games for change and things like that. So it's nice to see this game get a bunch more love out there. Multiplayer was Helldivers 2, which I guess isn't too surprising with how much that kind of took the industry by storm last year. It also got music too, which is great. Nice. Helldivers 2's music is super underrated.
It is.
I don't think it gets enough credit.
That intro by itself, I don't think gets enough credit, honestly.
The theme is really good in that game.
Yeah.
It's really great. Narrative went to Metaphor. A new intellectual property was Still Wakes the Deep, which I thought was interesting, because I think that's the only time I've seen that game at a lot of these award ceremonies was in this. Yeah. It actually won also for Best Performer in a Leading Role and in a Supporting Role, was 2 people from Still Wakes the Deep, which I thought was really interesting. And then Technical Achievement, Senua's Saga Hellblade 2, which, yeah, like graphically that game looks incredible. So
that's another one that when it came out, I didn't hear anyone else really talk about it once it released.
People didn't really like it that much, which I think is understandable, because I think I think a lot of it, the game itself struggled quite a bit, even more so than kind of the first one. So so that was the BAFTAs. I thought that was a bunch of cool games that, like in previous years, are kind of picking a bunch of games that, you know, like Still Wakes the Deep, we didn't see in any other award stuff. So it's nice to see them kind of featuring stuff really across the board without being like, here's the same 5 games. You know, is Wukong going to win it all again? That sort of thing. So, yeah. I think that's the last big award show we have for now, until the Keeleys happen at the end of the year, and then that's when the next year of the Fantasy League starts up.
The cycle starts all over.
That's right. All right, that's all of our news stories for this week, which means that's the end of our episode. Thank you very much, everyone, for listening. If you'd like to visit us, you can do so at tvgp.tv. Everywhere to find and follow us is on the right-hand side of the page. Please don't forget e1m1.cash.
Those ones are the numbers.
$5 tier or higher is the recommended ones. Anything above and beyond that, greatly appreciated. Tell your rich friend. You can, if you have a billionaire in your life, tell them to fight for tax reform and go spend a bunch of money on our Patreon to give us a working and living wage for the things that we do. Can't support us financially? Totally understand. Like, comment, subscribe over on the YouTube channel. Remember, there is a video version of every show that's on the public feed, so that there's a video component there as well. Come find and follow us on the Twitch channel as well. It'll let you know when we go live. We love seeing everybody hanging out and chatting with us in the Discord channel, or Discord. We love everyone in the Discord as well, discord.tvgp.tv. We love seeing everybody in the chat here chatting with us, and having given us the opportunity to read out your stuff on the episode here. And don't forget to rate and review us positively on our podcatcher of choice. Thank you very much, everyone, for listening. We'll see you all next week. Bye.
Oi.
Bye.
All right, Nimp. What are your titles?
I have. It was 142 mods. Being with a bunch of dorks. Turning the ship into a gacha machine. And laundering your loot.
All right, Moon, what do you have?
142, thank you very much. One big wedge that wibbles. Laundering your loot. Mod-based jank. Thing happened and I got killed. Fever dream for me. Roll and be fine. Addiction problem MVP. And just playing the hits.
I gotta write down just playing the hits. I like a theme, if anything else. I have so many different moons. A certain age of dorks. I like the idea that it's like, the age of dorks. Laundering your loot, it was 142 mods, and just playing the hits. All of us had laundering your loot on our list. So I think that's definitely a front runner.
Yep, I think so.
That's good to me.
All right. I will circle it. It has been circled.
I am ready.
I'm ready.
Dang, okay. Close out all that stuff. All right, let's get started in 3, 2, 1. This is That Video Game Podcast, episode 912 for April 14th, 2025. Laundering your loot.
Coins for plushies, not the other way around.
Welcome to our 9-point step on how to achieve loot.
All right, thank you very much, everyone, for listening and watching. We do greatly appreciate it, and we hope we'll see you next week. Bye.
Bye.